So there's like homeless camps here and stuff. So really, when I came to Key West today, I wanted to go to a place called Wisteria Island, which is an island where a bunch of homeless people live on boats and tents and stuff. But I couldn't get on the island because, you know, they're trying to rip you off. They're trying to rip you off. They're trying to charge you like exorbitant amounts of money just to go on the water or rent a boat. But basically, a lot of people out here just live on boats and stuff. That are abandoned. So yeah, like island homeless camps. People just kind of live on boats and stuff that are abandoned. I don't really know what is going on here, but as you can see, it's basically a bunch of abandoned boats full of propane tanks and garbage. I mean, like, you think you come out here and you're gonna be looking at like this beautiful natural place, but really it's just a bunch of whatever. Look, it's a boat full of garbage, and you have like propane tanks. A propane tank on an abandoned boat. I mean, there's a fire extinguisher there. There's a fire extinguishers, paint cans, a propane tank, bro. I mean, this is a tropical paradise island where people come to vacation, and look at how much garbage there is out here. I mean, this is literally disgusting, and it's the most environmentally concerning thing I've ever seen in Florida. I mean, from an environmental standpoint, you can see people have been dumping paint. I mean, people are just coming here and dumping chemicals in paint. Can you imagine that? These are like coral reefs and stuff out here, and you got people dumping paint. I mean, this is just kind of disturbing and disgusting if you think about it. There's like a pair of somebody's pants, maybe. Looks like somebody just dumped a bag of concrete there. Look how much garbage there is inside these mangroves. And actually the smell, it's a very disgusting smell. You see some iguanas right there. You can see there's a pillow right there and garbage all through here. And the smell is very repugnant. It's like a garbage chemical smell. Very repugnant. Look at how much garbage, bro. Look at all that garbage, chemicals. And there's actually, I'm gonna guess this is a homeless camp right here. For a fact, this is like a homeless camp. So you can see that this is like an abandoned boat, and they're using it as a homeless camp, I'm gonna guess. Or they just abandoned the boat with a bunch of garbage in it. They'll find like canoes and boats and canoes and stuff, and then they'll roll them out there. So this is like a homeless camp right here. You can see there's tents, clothing. You can see a fork, food items, you know, old food that's rotting right there. They have 2 canoes out here, 3 canoes. So what they do is they'll live on the mangrove islands, but then they'll use these canoes to get on and off the mangrove islands. So it's kind of like a way of getting on and off the islands. Little spiny tail lizard right there. So they'll have these canoes here, and what the homeless people do here in the Keys is that they'll use these canoes to get out on the mangrove islands. And then a lot of the homeless people here, they're actually going to live on the mangrove islands that are all around Key West. They have homeless camps all around the Key West. So they're not actually on the main island, they're on smaller islands, and this is how they get back and forth off of those islands. The problem that we're having though is that I couldn't find anybody on Key West who would take me to the bigger island where there's homeless camps. They wanted to charge me over $500 just to rent a boat, and I can't spend that kind of money without knowing if I'm going to be able to recover it. Besides, I'm not going to give them $500 to rent a boat for an hour. That's ridiculous. But that's what they want to get. But as you can see, not everything on Key West is a paradise island. For a lot of people, even homelessness, and you know, I'm okay with homeless camps in Pasco County and places like that. But this is a more environmentally sensitive area. And to see that there's this much litter in a mangrove island, that it's really like a national treasure of the United States if you think about it. This is definitely disturbing. And I'm gonna guess if we get caught recording here inside their homeless camps, we could definitely get stabbed or have a problem. You know, they're not gonna want you in here inside of their homeless camps. A lot of this is just garbage that washes away. But if you look at the type of garbage it is, you can definitely tell also that people have been kind of living back here. You can see there's a lot of pillows, a lot of clothing items, things that would just indicate ice packs and stuff like that. That would indicate you got ropes hanging off there for canoes. All that would indicate that there's a lot of transient people living through here. All along here, you can see all along this road here. And then, of course, they got their ramps to get off to the other islands. And, you know, the mangroves don't usually naturally smell too good, but there's an extra smell here. There's a smell here that's extra. There's an extra smell here. It's the smell of people who've been homeless here. It's a very repugnant, nasty smell here. So without a doubt, there is homelessness on Key West. And a lot of people actually just live on boats out there too. A lot of people live on boats. This looks like a bottle of oil somebody just threw here on the side of the road. So you can see a lot of people just live on abandoned boats. You can see a lot of people will just ride their bicycles, you know, to here, and then from here they'll hop on a boat. So it's kind of like they'll live on an island, but then they'll also have a bicycle tied somewhere near the front. So, you know, they use bicycles and canoes and boats to get back and forth from the islands where they're homeless back to the mainland for whatever they need. But as you can see, there's pretty much just homeless camps all along these mangroves along the edge of the island. You know, dumping, littering for sure. A lot of this is just dumping and littering. But if you pay close attention, you can see there's boats lined up all through there. Bicycles, so, you know, bicycles and boats means people are transiently moving through here. See all the garbage debris here. Sneak underneath these mangroves, and you can see here this is definitely a more elaborate kind of camp here. Lots of boats here, kind of little makeshift boats. Shopping carts, mangroves are just littered with debris here, and this is only one of many access points to these islands that where the homeless people live more permanently. So you're gonna find stuff like this. You'll find a lot of stuff like this. This is just one of the many kind of makeshift access points to these homeless camps. And if you look very closely, you can already make out there's homeless camps all along the edge of those mangroves on the other side. So it's kind of like living on an island, but you're still homeless. You have a boat, you have a canoe and a bicycle and a tent somewhere in the mangroves, but you're still, for all practical purposes, homeless in a lot of ways. So it's a different type of homelessness. Look how cool this is, guys. Like, you have, I guess, wow, I would love to get in there with my GoPro. Look, there's food here, okay? If you have a cast net and a fishing pole, you're never gonna go hungry here. But you can see this culvert that comes into here. This will be an awesome place to do a short dive. I mean, I'm already looking and I can see snappers. You can see little snappers, a bunch of snappers. I might have seen a small grouper. So yeah, this is definitely a place where even if you're homeless, you can still fish and have food. But the smell coming out of this little area here is just completely unbearable. It is. The mangroves don't smell good to begin with, but on top of the fact that mangroves don't smell good to begin with, then you have the repugnant smell of the homelessness, the clothes that got wet and all that. If you look really carefully on the other end, you can see there's debris packed against those islands over there. I just can't get enough of watching this water come out of this pipe and all the fish that are in here. It's pretty cool. So let's keep moving through here. And it's crazy to think that this homeless camp and all this garbage and litter and contamination is in the Florida Keys. Like, this is supposed to be a pristine place. This is supposed to be, protected, But as you can see, there's literally homeless camps, all through here. And it's wild to think that a protected area like the Florida Keys, you have these absolutely disgusting homeless camps. And a lot of times the homeless people are able to salvage boats, and they're able to salvage parts from boats and abandoned boats and then use those to live on more permanently. But clearly you can see that the little spot we're in right now has definitely been inhabited. It's crazy. I mean, this is supposed to be a protected environment, and here it is, a completely inhumane, unsanitary dump in what should be a clean, protected area. Kind of crazy to see that. And we have boats coming up on us right now. I don't know if they're going to be probably upset that we're in here, really. Hopefully they don't want to start any type of confrontation with us, because again, this is homeless camps. They live here. It's their home. So even though to us it may just look like a dump, this is like their little neighborhood, their little home. So if you come into these homeless camps, even though it's public land or state-owned land, they're very possessive of these homeless camps, and they don't like it when people come in here. Now today, during the daytime, they're going to be out fishing. They're going to be out, doing their thing. And it is true that, the storm surge brings in a lot of debris and all that, but nowhere in Florida, this is clearly a homeless camp, and nowhere in Florida, along any other mangrove that I've seen, you have this situation. So there's no reason for it to exist here. You know what I mean? So this is definitely a circumstantial thing due to homelessness and transientness. But bicycles, and of course more canoes, more little John boats and riffraffs to get out there. Keep in mind too, a lot of times hotels will get rid of this stuff, and a lot of people have them, you know, so they can get their hands on these little boats. And what's happening here, this isn't the actual homeless camp. This is the site of departure into where the homeless camps are, or they could just simply use this as a staging ground. Regardless, the fact that there's food here, you know, and also, you know, if these people are living in these conditions, you could almost assume that if they catch a fish and it's for subsistence fishing because they're living off of it, that, you know, they may be more likely to honestly just to keep fish that are not within the legal boundaries, which is also detrimental to the environment. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of reasons why this activity is detrimental to the environment, but one of the main reasons it's detrimental to the environment is because if they're homeless and they're subsistence fishing, I can almost guarantee you that whatever they're catching, whether it's legal or not, they're going to keep it if it's for subsistence. So lobster, fish, whatever they're catching and cooking and eating, most likely is going to be anything they can get their hands on. You can see somebody here's collecting beer cans to sell for scrap metal, so they've filled up little bags with beer cans. But nonetheless, all this is happening on top of a mangrove, which is a highly protected area in Florida. So if you're not familiar with the ecology of Florida, these are mangroves, and mangrove swamps are supposed to be protected, you know, are supposed to be, this is unacceptable. I mean, this is not what's supposed to be happening in a mangrove. A mangrove is a barrier between nature and humans that protects humans, protects land and property. So the fact that this is how the condition of these mangroves, and the fact that there's people subsistence fishing and living out of these mangroves, is very detrimental to the ecology of this place for a lot of reasons. But for one, you know, this isn't supposed to be happening on Key West. But of course, the tourists that come to Key West will never see this. This is a part of Key West that the tourists will never get to see. And again, a lot of people are going to say this just washed up with the storm. That's not true. Everything consistent here, from the boats to the bicycles, is consistent with a transient homeless camp. And it's actually pretty massive. And this isn't even the largest one on Key West. This is just the one I stumbled into. The largest one I wasn't even able to get into. But obviously the amount of litter up against these mangroves is absolutely insane. It just never ends. It just keeps going and going. But I've already had a couple people spot me, so we're gonna go ahead and move out of this spot. I don't think it's good for us to stay here. Again, a lot of times they're super possessive of these sites, and if you're in here, they're gonna think you're trying to steal boat batteries or something, or who knows what. So it's definitely not good for us to be here. At least not to be in here as long as we've been so far. A lot of times too, people are gonna stash whatever they have out here. You know, maybe money or whatever their possessions are, and they might think you're... This may look like just a dump to a lot of people, but inside of this garbage, if people have an ID or some cash or any other possessions, they're gonna stash them in the debris where you can't see it. So while I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't able to show you guys all the homeless camps on this island that I wanted to, at least we could start to get a taste of what it's like. It's hot, it's humid, it's absolutely unbearable to be out. So let's get up out of here, because we've already seen a couple people spot us, and I don't know if they're gonna come try to ambush us, or if they're possessive over the site, which is usually the case. We do not want to run into trouble, so let's keep it moving. And again, it's just crazy to think that this is a protected swamp, protected mangroves, and that this is the condition they're in. So let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Just a little walk through there. Look how sweaty I am, guys. I'm really disappointed that I wasn't able to get on the actual islands. That's really where the homeless camps are. These were just the staging grounds, you know, middle ground between getting on those islands. And there was definitely people that came in trucks. Katie was texting me telling me, let's get out of here, because some people came in trucks and whatever. And definitely there was people that noticed that we were there and didn't like the fact that we were there.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
All right, guys, so there's this giant abandoned boat here in the Florida Keys. You can see how clear the water is. You can actually make out a barracuda down there. It's a barracuda right there. A lot of times, a lot of these big boats will just simply get stolen. They'll strip the motor off it, strip the electronics off it, and then they dump it. At some point, this was a huge, beautiful vessel. You can tell now it's completely destroyed, and it's just sitting here abandoned on this dock here in the Keys. Let's see if we can get closer and take a better look of it. But as you can see, they've stripped off the electronics, motors, all that, and it's just a giant hull sitting here. Water looks pretty clear. That's pretty awesome. But this whole area is kind of like a grave site for boats that are abandoned. Kind of unsightly, and definitely a massive environmental concern. I'm sorry to tell you, the state of Florida, but you can't just have a bunch of giant abandoned boats that were stolen and dumped littering these islands. You would expect these places to be pristine, but the amount of litter and garbage that is out here is just incredible. I mean, it really, it's wrong.